I've booked literally over 5,500 calls for marketing agencies. And here's a strategy that I've seen pretty much nobody talk about. Okay, before I jump into exactly how to do it and very tactical advice so you can book hundreds of calls for your marketing agency and grow thousands to tens of thousands to maybe even hundreds of thousands on your social profiles to do that in a way that doesn't use ads and doesn't use organic. So totally different to what you guys are probably used to. I want to talk about the market, when to enter the market, why this makes sense, etc. So if you enter the market in a place where they have high sophistication and there's also more supply than there is demand, meaning it's a race to the bottom and becoming a commodity, as it says there, because there's so many competitors of yours that are out there. And now you start to compete on price and guarantees and crazy offers, commission only. I'll guarantee 15 clients in 3 days, all of that kind of stuff. If you can find a market where you can enter where there's high demand and low supply, amazing, because the market wants what you're offering, but no one's offering it. So it makes it so much easier for your ads to work, your content to work really well, your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter DMs, everything just works in that scenario. Most of us are in sophisticated markets. When you're in a sophisticated market, what do you need? You need to stand out. How do you stand out? Content, because it builds brand, it shows competency, it warms people up, the 7 hour rule, right? If they can see your LinkedIn, your website that has case studies, your Twitter, like if they can consume content from you, that's also how you get some of the best prospects, because the best prospects really value their time because they're very qualified businesses, meaning they make 2, 3, 4, 5+ million every single year. They don't want to waste their time. They don't want to book in with you unless they can consume content first and get a feel for, okay, they know what they're talking about. This is worth my time. If you just send them an Instagram DM or an outreach message or a cold email, it's less likely you're going to get incredibly qualified prospects without having some sort of content ecosystem in the background and status. Before we jump into exactly how to do this new strategy, you want to look at acquisition platforms. What's the best acquisition platform? If you can make ads work, ads is the best because it's incredibly scalable, but it can be very hard to make ads work. And a lot of it has nothing to do with you and your ads, as long as your ads are good, your copy is good, your creative is good, your funnel is good. A lot of it has to do with the market that you pick. So there's ads. What do I recommend after that? I recommend testing cold email. It's a foundation for many agencies. I also recommend testing Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter DMs just because I think it's a big opportunity right now. Not a lot of people are doing mass scaled volume of these, and I think it's a huge opportunity, which I get into in 1 second. Why does content even matter? Why does being high status even matter? And by high status, I don't mean you've a million followers or 5,000 followers or that you have a great lifestyle that you're showing off. That stuff can help, okay? If you're being authentic with it. But by high status, I usually mean competency in your content. If people could feel, okay, he knows what he's talking about, like it feels like you're competent, then you're going to get better and better deals and you're going to grow your agency more and you can help more people because of that. Here's the strategy. Most people do once off marketing. So cold email goes out and it's just one cold email. It's 1-to-1, okay? As it says here, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. We've done so much of it. It works. And Instagram, Facebook, Twitter DMs, that's also 1-to-1. Is there a way that we can use outreach and the great things that outreach has, the pros, right? Avoid some of the cons. Instead of doing 1-to-1 and once off, is there a way that we can go from that? It's not on this sheet, oopsies. But go from that to one-to-many, because one-to-many is a very leveraged form of marketing. And we want to focus a lot of our time on leveraged forms of marketing. Why? You can pick to do 1-to-1, you can pick to do one-to-many. Content's one-to-many, VSL is one-to-many, your website and adding in case studies so that you're more Googleable, which really is important. Prospects Google you before they book calls. That's one-to-many, working on your website. Sending an outreach message, it's 1-to-1, okay? So focus on the one-to-many where you can. But again, is there a way we can take 1-to-1 outreach, because there is pros, and sort of connect it to one-to-many? There is. And a lot of people will spend money on follower ads or wait 1 year, 2 year, 3 years for content to grow organically. There's a better way. That's what this video is about. Use Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, and even Facebook DMs, all these DM platforms to grow your audience at mass scale with 100, 200, 400 different accounts. Now you can remarket and you've got really good positioning. Everyone's pre-sold. Everyone understands what you do, but you can remarket. With 1-to-1, you essentially can't remarket. There's ways to do it, but essentially you can't remarket, right? You can remarket far more if someone is following you on social media versus using a pixel or re-emailing them or re-DMing them, etc. Those are good strategies, but again, you can truly remarket once you have people following you on social media. And you can have 500 followers and make a bunch of money. So don't worry about the numbers. Before we jump into exactly how to do it yourself, first I want to talk about thinking in forms of leverage. So if you already understand that you can post content and that's a really good way to grow, and you might know about organic growth, right? Or follower ads, and you might have even had the idea, who knows, of using outreach 200 accounts to push people to your content, and then also posting on those accounts as well. If you know that, but you're not doing it, that's interesting, because that actually creates massive opportunity for your competitors, where they think, okay, people can have the knowledge, but they won't actually do it. They might be scared to get in front of the camera. They might not know what to say. They might have all these different fears of failures, fears of being seen. Totally get it. Empathetic towards it, but that does create an opportunity for your competitors to then capitalize on that space content, because it creates more supply than demand. And that's where the content space is. There's not enough people doing it that have been successful at it to garner enough attention to create a place where there's too much supply, aka too much people making content for demand in the market. There's a huge opportunity right now to make more content. You have to think in forms of leverage. Posting content and growing it with the mass DM strategy creates this parasocial effect, which then everyone that comes to the call is pre-sold, which means you actually feel like you've double or triple the calls. If you've 10 calls from outreach, you really have 20 calls from outreach if you do content. I hope that makes sense. Basically, what I'm trying to say is people come more pre-sold. It's as if you had more calls doing other acquisition platforms. And because it's from content in general, you have status, competency. People are going to book in a much higher rate versus cold email, etc. And you can remarket to people. So why not put your best foot forward? Why not try the most that you can? And why not have a strategy that can't fail and feel really confident about it? And how do you do that? You create content and then you funnel people to said content using a mass DM strategy. Here is how you do that. Step one, buy 100 to 200, 300 to 400 age Instagram accounts. And you can also do Twitter accounts as well, and even Facebook accounts. And it's a similar process. Now, I wouldn't really want to do less than 100 because I want a strategy that can't fail. I don't want a strategy that kind of works where I'm doing 10 to 20. And then down the line, I start to scale it up in 3 months. It's like, no, things happen. The warm up is hard. Accounts will get suspended. If you're really committing to this, if you have the capital, do 100, 200 accounts, 300 accounts, 400 accounts, and just kind of go crazy and make it a strategy that can't fail. Put in a lot of effort. So you can go to different account providers. Accountsmarket.com is one of them right there. There's the domain. You can buy old aged Instagram accounts. The older, the better, right? Get GMX accounts. They are some of the better ones that you can get there. Don't get at Gmail accounts because you might have issues with the email specifically. From there, you want to set up the proxies, the residential proxy specifically. So you can go to private proxy, really any proxy provider, just try to find a good price. From there, you want to set up hide my account, which I'll actually show you guys. So hide my account is an anti-detect browser. So you got to think about it like this. If you have 100 Instagram accounts, how are you going to log into them all? You need some sort of a browser which creates separate browser/Chrome instances where you can connect a proxy, put in the profile, and then you're able to run them all at the same time. So it's essentially like having 100 different Chromes that are all separate from each other and don't know about each other. You also have to set up a VPS. So similar to the proxies, you can pretty much get any VPS to start. If you're going 100 to 200 different Instagram accounts, get a powerful VPS. After that, you want to warm up the accounts, which we'll get into exactly how to do that in a second. And then you want to set up an automation tool. Cold DMs is quite a good automation tool. Here's the one I'd recommend. I've tried a gazillion of them, and this seems to be the one with the least amount of issues by far. So I'll go with cold DMs for Instagram. And if you want to start talking about Twitter, when I have found a tool I'm really confident in, I'll probably mention that then. So you want to be able to message 200 to 300,000 people per month. Imagine that you have content that you're posting once a day on YouTube, 5-10 times a day on short form, maybe LinkedIn, etc., and you're pushing people to said content using this funnel, this DM funnel, and you're contacting 200, 300, 400,000 people every single month. You're now thinking in leverage, right? You're making good decisions. You're thinking long term, right? You're understanding how the market plays. You're understanding the different acquisition platforms, which one to go with, which one not to go with. You're understanding one-to-one, one-to-many, and that you can remarket. You're understanding leverage. You're understanding the rule of content. You understand the parasocial effect. You understand so many things that you can now make better decisions. If you didn't understand these concepts, it's going to be really hard to have the conviction in this strategy. But if you understand them, it makes sense and it becomes very clear of, okay, this makes so much sense. There's no way this won't work. This is an incredibly good strategy. Here's the account warm-up guide. And look, like everything in marketing, like cold email, for example, is like this too. Everything is not a rule. It is a general best practice. And so many of the times you can break best practices and find a better way to do something. So let me start with the guidelines. Spend 1 hour a day on the account. You could test 20 minutes a day and see if it works for you, and then test 5 minutes a day. Do it for the first week, do it for the whole warm up, test these things and see what works for you. You just want to make it feel like a human, right? The principle, the thinking behind this, the goal is make Instagram believe we're a human. So you want to obviously avoid robotic behavior, don't repeat actions constantly, try to think about action blocks. If you get action blocked, give it some time before you try to use the account again, Reply to every DM as well. Bots typically don't respond. And during the warm up phase, don't try automation tools. Again, this is something you can absolutely test to see if it works for you or if it doesn't work for you. New account setup. So log in, verify the email, rest, do nothing essentially for the next couple of days, update the profile, think about the profile picture, the nickname, the bio. You'll need some sort of an emulator if you want to be able to tag yourself in the bio. That's something else. You can tag yourself and say something like you work for this person or check out this person's content. So that's a whole nother strategy. You'll have it in the bio, you'll have it in the DM where you're saying check out my content, those two places, and you can also have it in the link. Let me actually add it here for you guys. So in the link, what's it called? The link, wherever you add the link, I'm just going to call it the link place. So you can have it in the link place, you can have it in the bio, you can have it in the DM, you can have it on the content. You can post content on 100 different accounts, right? And you can start thinking about Twitter and Instagram for this as well. Now with the link place, there's actually, let me get it for you guys. Okay, so there's actually this website, linktw.in. Interesting domain. Wonder what it stands for, TW. Anyway, use that. And now the link that you put in, whether it's in the DM or in the actual bio, you're going to now send people to the YouTube app instead of being in app. You don't want to be in app because I don't know if it counts as a view. It probably does. But even if it doesn't, it's much harder for them to subscribe and to go check out your page. So again, just use this website so that it brings people to that place, the correct app, right? So that's a lot of different ways that you can kind of push people towards your content. Post at least 9 posts. Again, this is something some people say, but you could break it. You could post 0 posts, put the accounts on private, see if that works for you. Look at the data. No one has the full answers for this, and it depends depending on the niche anyway. We all just have opinions. Post at least 9 posts, post 3 posts, see if it makes a difference. Generally speaking, more posts, the better. Then you want to rest. Then from there, week 2, you're kind of done the new account setup. You want to do gradual engagement. So every single day, you're going from likes and follows and messages, and you're increasing it. And you can also buy followers if you want. Again, this is literally just a suggestion. You don't have to buy followers. You can keep it at 10 followers or 20 followers or 0 followers. That's totally up to you. And then week 3, you're really scaling. So what you want to do here, the goal is not look like a bot and get 250 messages a day per account. And then you can really start sending outreach of 50 messages per day. And then you're able to funnel people to your content, and you're picking one of the best acquisition platforms. You're combining one-to-one and one-to-many. So you're combining outreach, social media outreach, and you're combining content together. You understand that content is super unsaturated and it's really, really good. Even in unsophisticated markets, it's sort of a hack to stand out. Even, again, this is very important, I'm going to say it again, even if you're in an unsophisticated market, you're understanding leverage and how to make different decisions. You're thinking long term, you know how to problem solve. Like you're really starting to understand the game when you start to do these things. You're thinking about Googleability, positioning. Now you can remarket via content. You're creating status. Instead of going one-to-one, you're going to one-to-many. And that's so much easier to scale. And then you can also invest even further into, let's have a really good website. Let's have really good case studies there. Let's really focus on a podcast and newsletter. You can really scale this out and use AI and create systems and automations and a team to help you with your content and to help you repurpose content as well. And you're thinking in forms of leverage, right? You're doing the right stuff to be able to succeed in probably every single market or 99% of them. This is one of the best strategies I've found in pretty much 9 or 10 years since I started my first business. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them below and I'll probably get back to you guys.